In particular, if the angels had to do their work in our etheric body and our physical body while we're sleeping, that is, they would have to work in our absence, three things will occur in humanity's development. First of all, as the angels work in our sleeping body, in the absence of our astral body and I, a certain instinctive power will be created. And we will simply find it there when we wake up in the morning. In other words, we'll simply be given certain instinctive insights rather than having to attain them through our freedom. What we find as we wake up every morning will be instinct rather than being based on our free consciousness. These instinctive insights are indeed part of our development and are connected to the mysteries of conception and birth, to our whole sexual life. They become dangerous and harmful when we receive them as a result of the above described refusal to wake up to the angel's work in our astral body. If human development takes the turn described above, then certain sexual instincts will emerge and gain ground, not in a beneficial or useful way in our waking clear consciousness, but in a destructive way as pure instincts. These instincts will not only sidetrack us, but they will also influence our social structures. In particular, what will then enter our bloodstream as a result of our sexual life will keep us from developing any kind of fellowship on earth. Instead, these instincts would goad us at all times into rebelling against fellowship, a rebellion that would be purely instinctual. Thus we face a moment of decision, a decisive crossroads. Either we go to the right, and then we must be awake to things, or we go to the left, and then we can sleep through everything. However, in this latter case, instincts will emerge that will have dreadful consequences. Natural scientists' response to the emergence of these instincts will be to say that this development was inevitable and an absolute necessity, that it is simply inherent in human evolution. After all, whether human beings turn into angels or devils, the natural sciences would have an explanation in either case. For to them, everything happens as a result of what precedes it. They will naturally consider it an absolute necessity that people become near devils because of their sexual instincts. It is only through spiritual, supersensible insight that these things can be understood. The second consequence that will follow from the work that will cause changes in the angels is an instinctive but detrimental knowledge of certain remedies. Indeed, everything related to medicine will get a tremendous boost in the materialistic sense. People will instinctively perceive the healing properties of certain substances and certain activities, and will do great harm with that. But they will call the harm they do useful and beneficial. As a result, people will call the sick healthy, for they will realize that then they can get involved in certain activities, perform certain actions that they will enjoy. Indeed, people will enjoy doing what is unwholesome. Basically, there will be growing knowledge of the healing properties of certain processes and activities, but it will lead us onto dangerous ground. Above all, people will learn through certain of their instincts which illnesses are caused by certain substances and actions, and then they can decide on the basis of purely egotistic motives whether to produce these illnesses or not. The third consequence of the above described turn in human development will be that we come to know certain forces that can easily be manipulated to unleash vast mechanical power over the whole world. Simply harmonizing certain vibrations can release tremendous powers. As a result, we will be able to instinctively exert some control over the realm of mechanics and machines. And then technology as a whole will be on dangerous ground. Our egotism will be pleased with this development and find it useful. To properly appreciate these concrete details concerning our development, we must develop a spiritual view of life. For without it, if we rely on an unspiritual view, these things will remain unclear to us. Without a spiritual view of life, we would be at a loss when the above-described harmful medicine takes hold, when our sexual instincts go badly astray, when the world mechanism goes awry regarding the use of natural resources through spiritual powers. Without a spiritual worldview, we would not be able to understand or even notice these things and how they are pushing us off our true path. Indeed, without spiritual understanding, we would be much like the sleeping person who does not notice the thief coming at night to rob him, and only sees the damage later when waking up, and by then it is too late. It would be a rough awakening indeed. We would delight in the expansion of our instinctive knowledge of the healing properties of certain substances and processes. We would enjoy living out our sexual instincts gone awry, and we would praise particularly this last aberration as an exceptionally fine form of the superhuman and of impartiality and tolerance. In a sense, what is ugly would become beautiful for us, and vice versa. And we would not even notice this, because it would appear to us as an absolute necessity, as the way things must be. Nevertheless, we would be off our true course, which has been prescribed for us even in regard to our own inner nature. True spiritual science awakens us to the things I've talked about today. We can use an analogy here and say that insight into the spiritual world is, to our normal waking state, like a further waking up, just as our normal waking state is an awakening from sleep.